Okay, so recently we've been covering the whole Kronii situation, which has kind of blown up recently as a ton of fans have been finding out about what has exactly happened, as it's not exactly the most known topic, right? In the sense of like, it was done on like a kind of different account and whatever, and it's kind of a JP sided thing as well, because the announcement was announced on the JP account. Now, if you don't know, Kronii essentially was supposed to be set for a role within Eternal Return, a pretty popular game, and of course it would be a pretty big role because, you know, any role is a good role for someone wanting to be, you know, a voice actor or someone that wants to be, you know, kind of known, especially as a VTuber, right? Many VTubers would love to have an opportunity like that to voice in a game. And of course, yeah, Crony was picked, and she's played the game before, but then of course, if you guys didn't see the last video, she was replaced, or she will be being replaced. She was dropped essentially for the English voice of a character called Baeyong after a joke that she made on stream 5 years ago. Yeah, she made a joke 5 years ago, and apparently that means you now need to be replaced from your job, which was pretty crazy. And it wasn't even a bad joke, by the way. We went through it in the last video, but there was a clip that showed us exactly the moment that she got dropped for, and she essentially saw an animal in the game, a boar, like the animal a boar, and made a pun about it being boring, right? Because obviously boring, you know, funny pun, you know. And it's harmless, right? Of course, she's just making a joke because there's a boar there. She obviously doesn't think the game is boring itself. But many people have been trying to bring up the clip, trying to bring it to the attention of Eternal Return. Obviously, people that dislike Crony or whatever, like a lot of antis and things. And it all eventually led to her being replaced as a voice actor, which obviously is very, very disappointing because, of course, it would have been great to see her as a voice actor for this game, and would have been great, you know, for her to potentially get even more voice acting roles and stuff in the future. And yeah, a lot of people were not happy about this, and you can see here it's got 500 likes and 3.5 million views. So yeah, 3.5 million views. And I just kind of wanted to go over some of the other responses and stuff from fans that have been kind of like going deeper into this as to what this really means for Crony and Eternal Return as a whole. Crony actually made this post as well, which I didn't see in the last video, which I thought was quite funny, saying, "Breaking news, a tire is tiring and a boar is boring," which obviously is quite funny. He said, "If you found this pun to be controversial, then hospital." So obviously she also thinks it is absolutely ridiculous that this has happened to, as much of the entirety of the VTubing space think it has been pretty ridiculous, right? I think everybody has agreed. There hasn't been like any kind of like, but actually I think, because obviously a lot of the topics that we covered recently has been very, you know, mixed. A lot of people are very, you know, on one side or on the other side, and it can get a little bit, you know, heated. But this one, I think everybody just went, yeah, I don't know why they did that. That's a bit weird. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened, right? Now, of course, yeah, there's been responses on the actual post itself, for example, saying, "Why are you only announcing this on the Japanese account? Are you afraid of a well-deserved backlash you'll receive if you post it on the English account? You're a horrible, unprofessional company," which absolutely ratioed the hell out of this post. 500 likes here, 9.2 thousand likes on this one. Damn. Saying, "Dotavu is loved over here. You just scorned your EN community. Then don't try to hide behind your Japanese, you cowards." And yeah, it seems like obviously she was going to be the English voice actor for Eternal Return, but they decided to post it on the JP side. Yeah, pretty interesting, right? Also, just to add as a quick point as well to this whole Crony situation too, it seems like a lot of people have been also review bombing Eternal Return over on Steam. It looks like it's deserved, with a thumbs down. And of course, yeah, you can see the huge amount of negative reviews that they've received. So it just goes to show you exactly how much people are not happy with the decision to obviously replace Crony as a voice actor in the game. And yeah, I mean, you know, that's what people do, right? You know, if you're a game on Steam and you do make a decision like this, well, you know, you're not going to end up in a very good space in terms of the reviews you get. So again, you know, just to kind of add that bit of extra stuff there, it is pretty interesting to see, right? And obviously, as we look through it even further, as a lot of people have been talking about it in the Hololive subreddit here, essentially, a lot of people have been saying that apparently, saying, "Funny thing is, this was their attempt at trying to garner an international audience. Let's see how brilliant this maneuver turns out for them." Like, damn. So essentially getting Kronii on board as a voice actor and whatever was supposed to, lead a lot of people from the international community from outside of Japan and all this kind of stuff to play their game. And they ended up obviously dropping her for some pretty stupid reasons, and now it seems like they've done pretty much the exact opposite of what they tried to do, right? Instead of bringing in the international community, a lot of these comments are saying, well, I'm never playing your game, or well, I'm quitting, or well, I'm not going to be interacting with this company, because no one wants to, right? Nobody wants to work with a company that is this stupid. I'm going to be honest, they are stupid. And obviously I think Crony is actually pretty lucky, as I said in the last video. I think she's lucky to not have gotten the job and to have been dropped, because who knows how unprofessional they could have been, down the line, right? And she would have been kind of locked into it because she is a voice actor of a character, which of course would have been pretty bad. So obviously, it sounds a bit harsh or whatever saying I hope that she, I'm happy that she did get dropped. But I do think that honestly, if they're treating her like this now, I don't know how they would have treated her if she did get the job and that she was still voice acting, right? Which of course, I hope that she can get a better, role, and a role that obviously kind of respects her a little bit more, rather than, just kind of dropping her over a stupid board joke from a video game. So people say, I think this is a disregard for North American players and for the entire player base as a whole. In the end, this company seems to only have eyes for Korea. Oh, is it Korea? Oh, sorry, that's probably my fault. Korea is the main audience, not Japanese. But either way, I think Asia is their main market, but they're trying to, reach out to the West a little bit more as well. And of course, maybe a little bit with Japan with like the whole Hololive tag attached to it too. So I guess, yeah, maybe it's to do with the whole Korea thing as well. So in the end, this company seems to only have eyes for Korea. It looks like they're completely swayed by the voices of the players there. Due to pure incompetence, they squandered a golden opportunity for global marketing, which, yeah, 100% true. They say, I understand foreign language could be hard to decipher, but you should have at least made contact with the VA to, understand the context. Also, if the VA was for the NA audience, why did you not bother to confirm if the NA audience has an issue with this or not? So apparently, some people are pointing it towards the Korean kind of community that was been, the ones to kind of push this and to draw attention to this clip. Again, I don't know how true that is, but it does seem like, it was pushed by, a certain group of people that obviously didn't want Crony to be a voice actor or whatever of the game, so they tried to push any clip that they could find, essentially, of her saying this stuff, right? And of course, yeah, there's been many more comments as well, saying, yeah, the Western version of the game is basically dead. I tried playing the game and gave up after 15 minutes in queue. Then back when it was ERBS, there was still no players. I remember getting pinged on Discord like, bro, you got to play ranked today. We got 2 lobbies going, because usually you'd have 1 ranked lobby above gold, and if you miss it, you're going to have to wait until the lobby finishes. That's how dire it was. So it seems that the game wasn't in a very good state anyways. But yeah, I'm saying, the context without giving the name, Crony got sponsored some time back to play ER, a popular Korean game. She made a pun about a bore, and then, yeah, with the news of the voice actress landing the job, Korean antis took to social media and showed the clip and words out of context with the wrong translation, which harmed the chances for the voice actress to stay in the role. So yeah, they purposely mistranslated the clip without referring to actual translators themselves, which obviously sucks. So she, being Korean herself and saying sorry that English isn't her first language, but there was absolutely no reason why her words needed to be misconstrued to the point where she's losing a role. And that when people do these things, it actually can hurt someone. The antis bombarded the devs so much that they canned her chance at the role, even without knowing the context. Just shows how much that they truly didn't care to take the seconds it would have taken to see that it was a silly pun about a damn animal. Which obviously, yeah, I think that is 100% true, right? I think that, essentially, there is 2 people at fault here. Of course, it is the group of antis that obviously spread this to the game and trying to purposefully get her fired from this. But I also think at the same time, it's also the game's fault for not doing their due diligence to check, like, hey, is this true, right? Because it's like if I was to go to like any game, right? Say me and you have a game of I don't know, CS:GO, right? And I go, just go to this, and this, and they're like, do you have any proof? And it's like, yeah. And then I'd like make a little like what do you call it? A little drawing on like Microsoft Paint. I'd be like, this is the proof. And I draw in like a little extra bullet or something. It's like, he's cheating, he's hacking. And then they go, oh yeah, okay, we don't need any more evidence than that. We're going to go and ban them straight away. Actually, you know what? They're suspended for life. Yeah, you're good. That's kind of like what it's like, right? Because they haven't checked it at all. Of course, I'm the one at fault for giving them the false information, but also the company's at fault for not checking that the guy's actually cheating, right? So, of course, it's a similar kind of case. If you want to go into, what do you call it, examples and whatever. He was saying it's a lose-lose situation for the devs. Either they get harassed by Crony antis or negative PR from the Crony fans. Either way, it sucks for all parties except for the antis who get exactly what they want, which obviously, yeah, is true. And of course, you know, it seems like Eternal Return is in a pretty tight spot right now, so they don't want to anger anybody. But, you know, they probably made this decision because the people that are the antis are probably the ones that, you know, do play the game, right? And, you know, do they take the side of the VTuber, who obviously hasn't done anything wrong, but also, you know, hasn't exactly added any, you know, players to the game or anything like that so far? Or do we take the side of the current players, which we barely have any players anyways? So if we lose these, we might lose even more players, which obviously would suck for the company. And then obviously it becomes a more obvious decision for them what to do, right? And obviously it's not right. It's not right that that should happen, but, you know, it's just something that, you know, does happen, right? But as I said, I hope that Crony does find a better role in the future, right? I feel like, you know, she's talented enough to, you know, find something better out there that can, of course, you know, hopefully kind of fulfill a different kind of role or whatever, or purpose or whatever you want to call it, in terms of voice acting. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially a lot of the reactions from a lot of fans in regards to the post from Eternal Return and everything. Just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on that because I thought it was pretty spicy, right? But yeah, that's what I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.